So I had a video go viral on Instagram recently, and someone showed up on my page and said, "Hey, how come you don't have muscles? You don't look athletic or strong." So I don't mind an Instagram scuffle. I jumped in and shared how I've been focusing on unraveling and aligning. I do have an 85-degree curve in the middle of my spine, but I still do manage to outperform most amateur athletes. I'm not professional, but I hold my own on the football pitch or hiking or whatever sport I end up doing. I usually do pretty well. And I've gotten to a place where I'm looking for new challenges with my body. So I asked him to provide a list, and I think he reviewed my videos or something, but he picked out movements that are specifically attacking my weaknesses, which is exactly what I want. So let's get into it in this session. So we're going to start with the dragon squat. That's where I was crisscrossing the leg behind the other one. I've regressed, so I've gone to easier variations of it in order for me to work up to that. Even those are a struggle for me. This is due to chronically underactivated glutes, due to the hamstrings and lower back compensating for the 85-degree curve in my T10. My T10 vertebrae is wedge-shaped, so I have a right angle in the middle of my spine. This creates a kink in the communication chains in my body, and you're going to see the challenges that causes through a lot of the maneuvers that we're practicing today. A lot of new guys on my Instagram are not familiar with what fascia is. Consider it like a spider webbing around the body. It's kind of the scaffolding of the body, and when there's a structural compromise like a scoliosis or kyphosis, the myofascial structure adapts, and after many, many years, it can get quite tight and restrictive, and it becomes stronger in the compensated structure instead of a free-flowing structure. So a lot of the work that I've had to do is essentially break down that compensated structure and then build from the ground up with these foundational parts of the body. So here you can get a good look at that, that T10 85-degree kyphoscoliosis in my mid-back. The single leg pistol squat is something I've been training towards. It's one of my benchmarks that I'm working towards. Benchmarks are certain poses, certain movements that I would like to pull off. They take me years. They take me much longer than someone with a standard back and myofascial structure would be able to achieve. As I unravel over the years and have increased my height almost 2 inches from this, my center of gravity changes. The muscles that I fire through movements changes. I first have to unravel and unlock ranges of motion before I can even think about generating force and strength through a range of motion. A scoliosis, especially a kyphoscoliosis, is a collapse of the structure, and it's a rearrangement of the entire core muscular structure in the body. And many of these movements require amazing core communication throughout the body. So this is a curtsy shrimp squat, another progression towards the dragon squat, basically crisscrossing at the back when coming down. I have not done this too much at all, so you're seeing me attempt many of these movements today for the first time. So in movements like this, I'm constantly collecting information. I'm observing, becoming aware of where do I have that strength, and then where does that strength drop out? Where am I not able to generate that force? And then when I am generating force in that position, I'm also allowing alignment to happen. Wherever I'm struggling to generate force is usually a sign that it's a misaligned part of the chain. So as I generate force in that area, I actually feel the alignment happening. To generate that force in that challenging position, the body must go into alignment. So therefore, when I'm beginning to apply force in an area that I know is weak and challenged or kinked, when the chain is kinked, I know that applying force is creating alignment. So I encourage that with my breath. I encourage that by elongating through the glutes and the back of the head, creating the space for that alignment to happen. So all of these movements felt amazing. I'm definitely going to be sticking with this goal. I would love to get a dragon squat. It will probably take me 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I don't know, but I know it's going to take me a while. There is still quite a bit of work I need to do. But the work that I need to do, I know will provide many, many fruits in many different ways as I go on that journey. So it's something I'm definitely going to integrate more of. So I really got into it in this session, but let's move on to the next movement challenge, which is the front lever. Another very difficult position to pull off. I pulled it off for about 0.1 of a second there. I guess we'll have to work on this one too. Like I said, these are very challenging movements, but I'm inviting the challenge. To get to where I'm at here, to be able to do this, it has taken me years, starting from the L-sit, over 10 years ago. This is extremely challenging to generate a rigid, straight chain of strength, front and back, throughout the entire body. It's really just been this year that I've been connecting and feeling that synchronization of activating the posterior chain, the anterior chain, right? Those superficial myofascial bands that travel up our front, up our toes, the front of our body, all the way crisscrossing across the torso and over the scalp and into the tongue for the front chain, and then on the back chain, the same direction, from the toes over the ankles, the back of the legs, crisscrossing across the back and into the scalp as well. The myofascial bands, activating those at the same time has been a mission, but I'm there now, and I'm ready to take on new challenges. So this here is a progression towards the front lever. The past month or two, I have been focusing in on getting nice thoracic extension here, like right at the top of this pull. Focusing on really opening through the chest, but also keeping the ribs down. So not flaring the bottom of my ribs and poking them out, but keeping the ribs tucked in, but at the same time opening the chest and extending through the mid-thoracic spine, which is obviously directly in an opposite direction of the 85-degree curve that I have. So this has obviously been an extremely challenging part of the body to generate that force and that movement, that mobility in the thoracic spine to be able to pull off this stuff. When I'm in that pose, it feels like I'm attempting to open a brick wall. It feels rock solid in there because the 3 or 4 vertebrae above and below my T10 are pretty locked in. They're pretty fixed. So that's why it's called a structural kyphoscoliosis, because it does not have mobility. Although I have created a lot of mobility in the vertebrae above and below, and sometimes into a couple vertebrae closer, but it's quite a severe bend in the middle there, so it's quite locked up. And these movements are just part of the process of learning how to generate strength in spite of that compromise. So here I'm running through some progressions that I found towards the front lever. I love a good set of gymnastic rings. If you have any type of postural challenge, whether it's scoliosis or kyphosis, I would highly recommend getting a set of rings at home. They're very easy to use throughout the day. You can do so many things on them. It's really incredible. the value that you can get out of a great set of rings at home. Another progression here towards the front lever. Being 2 meters tall and 100 kilograms, I've got quite a few challenges, but I'm not going to let those get in the way of going towards a goal. It is about the journey. Will I get there? Depends how much I want it. How many things am I going to try to do? I can try to do everything, but I can't do everything. And that's an important one, because I've noticed recently that I've got quite a few different opportunities and goals and benchmark in a few different directions, and I'm realizing I may have to sacrifice a couple in order for me to achieve others. Do I want the muscle up? Do I want the handstand? Do I want the front lever? Which one do I want first? Sometimes working towards one will enable the path to become easier for another one. So I'm currently sorting through which of these benchmarks and movements are best to start with, and I'll go from there. So the next exercise in the challenge is the broad jump. Now, this one I actually felt really good doing because I have been working the chain that this is working. So pendulum swings where you're kind of throwing dumbbells in pretty much the same motion, and then you're feeling that front anterior chain extend as you've got the dumbbells. I really felt that they helped me prepare for this movement here. So I'm integrating a lot more jumping into my workouts recently because I've appreciated the value of what it can do in the body. I always thought that I just wasn't a good jumper. I've always had kind of smaller calves. But as I learned more about the fascia, I realized that might be restrictions that have been previously holding me back, especially in the calves and the neck, areas that have strain from supporting other areas for different reasons. I have a feeling it might have something to do with that. As I unravel the fascia, I've definitely noticed easier muscle growth in areas that I've had restrictions before. When you have a postural compromise like a scoliosis or a kyphosis, there are parts of your posture that become compressed. When there's a collapse, there's a compression that happens in that part of your body. And the goal of unraveling is removing that, decompressing that. So one way to unravel compression is through explosive compression and decompression, which is exactly what we're doing when we're jumping. Now, I don't recommend to do this in the early stages of the HEIGHTMAXXING protocol, which is my holistic posture correction protocol, because I think it can be overdone and it does require a bit of awareness first. I'm really focused in the unravel section to bring awareness to the body about where we're at. And I have the same kind of opinion when it comes to running. Hold off on too much of it until you're understanding what's happening as the force goes through your body, as the way that you're breathing and the way that you're holding yourself, and the ability that you have to actually create alignment through those steps and through those jumps. Each step is essentially you becoming anti-gravity, and there is a moment where you can restructure. It's like taking a car, it's like jacking the car up to change the tire. Each step you take, your body is essentially, it has an opportunity to change. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. So this is the drop jump. Again, another exercise that I really haven't trained too much at all before this workout. So thanks again for MXM26 for challenging me and suggesting the different movements to do. This entire workout, and especially recording it, it has been a very humbling experience for sure. Okay, the next one was the vertical jump. I think that's 32 inches. You know, the spine is a spring. You know, Usain Bolt has scoliosis, there's a certain degree of scoliosis that, okay, there's potentially extra spring, but with an 85-degree curve, I think there's obviously like a bit of a compromise to the structural integrity of the spring. So generating force in my body like this, it's not something like, it's something I want to do with care and awareness. I want to do exercises that expand my posture and bring range of motion into parts of my posture, not just compress and crush. So next, weighted chin-ups. I've been working on the sternum pull-up, working towards the muscle up. I've gotten it once or twice. I think I've just got to really be able to repeat it consistently to say I have the muscle up. Here we get a 10 kilo. Now we get a 20 kilos. I feel like I've had stronger pull-ups before, but this is where I'm at now. Sometimes when I get alignment and I get height gains, the structure that I have during a pull-up, the strength that I have during a pull-up can decrease, and I have to rebuild it because it's new pathways, new connections, new muscles firing, with all of the imbalances going on. They've got to find a unique path to be able to pull it off. So my strength with pull-ups has changed over the years.
So I just got majorly humbled in a good way. Thank you, MXM, for sending in those movement challenges. I've been focusing on things that my body has needed. I'm at a place and a time where I feel like I'm ready to challenge myself to go outside of my comfort zone, and bam, immediately, first challenge, I've exposed so many little weaknesses that I haven't found in my own kind of training or things that I've been working towards. I've been working towards a single leg pistol squat, muscle up, handstand, those kind of things. But then those ones today really kicked me on my ass, but I think in a great way. I now have direction. This is exactly what I look for: weaknesses, tightnesses, restrictions that are getting in the way of my optimal self. My body will figure itself out. It'll align itself as I'm on the journey of achieving great form in some of these poses and postures. If you're looking to improve or compromise, if you're struggling with posture, whether it's scoliosis or kyphosis, head over to posturedojo.com. You'll get access to the HEIGHTMAXXING protocol. It's a 12-week psychosomatic posture correction protocol. It's running a gauntlet that will get you ready to take on challenges like this. You probably don't want to start taking on challenges like this. You want to get that connectivity, and then you can start progressing in the direction that your body is asking you to go. So overall, my goals are longevity and all-terrain agility. That's what I'm optimizing all of my workouts, my routines, but for these videos, I'm going to be open to more challenges. So if you get any more ideas of challenges for me, throw them my way. I'll have a crack. Thanks. See you in the next one.